Hello viewers, I am Taram Kumar Gondwal, Assistant Professor in St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The following video is prepared as per the syllabus and course outline of Maharshi Dayanand University. However, there are mostly general topics which cover the working and theoretical aspects of civil engineering. For best understanding and conceptualizing clearly, please do not skip the video and watch till end. At the end of the video and each topic and each section, we will be discussing about the related important questions, feasibility and working application. Let's start the video. Hello students, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. In today's session, we'll learn about precautions and treatments against the contamination of groundwater, folds, joints, and also we learn a few topics of environmental geology. So without further ado, let's start with the topic now. So in this session, for the groundwater, we'll talk about importance of groundwater, sources of groundwater contamination, then prevention from groundwater pollution, participation of industries and communities, remediation, conventional and innovation, remediation techniques, typical groundwater contaminants, practical remediation technologies, Royal Commission, environmental regulations for groundwater preventions, and conclusion. Groundwater is present below ground surface that saturates the pore space in the subsurface. At least 50% of the world's population depends on groundwater as a source of drinking water. 50% वर्ल्ड की पॉपुलेशन ग्राउंड वाटर पे ही डिपेंड करती है ड्रिंकिंग के लिए. अदर यूजेस ऑफ ग्राउंड वाटर इंक्लूड इरिगेशन ऑफ क्रॉप्स, इंडस्ट्रियल यूजेस एक्सेट्रा. Ground water is a part of natural water cycle, therefore it can spread throughout the cycle and if contaminated can cause damage to other entities like sea life, lakes, human health etc. तो क्योंकि ग्राउंड वाटर पूरी वाटर साइकिल से कनेक्टेड है, इसीलिए अगर ग्राउंड वाटर डैमेज हो जाएगा तो वो बाकी एंटिटीज को भी नुकसान देगा. ग्राउंड वाटर कैन बी पॉल्यूटेड, कंटामिनेटेड as a result of human activity and natural conditions. Contaminations found in groundwater cover a broad range of physical, chemical, that is organic and inorganic, bacteriological and radioactive parameters. So these are the sources of groundwater pollution. This is improper use of contaminated water, then leaking fuel and chemical tanks. It can cause groundwater pollution, industrial and chemical spills, use of pesticides, herbicides and fertilizers, drainage of household chemicals and badly managed landfills. These all can cause groundwater pollution. So prevention of groundwater contamination. Once groundwater gets contaminated, it may be difficult and expensive to clean it up. Therefore, the best way to deal with groundwater contamination is not to contaminate it in the first place. So participation of industries in prevention. Industries can minimize use of toxic or hazardous raw materials. They can maintain integrity of the storage tanks, pipelines, surface impoundments. देखना चाहिए कि कोई भी storage tank pipelines में leakage ना हो. Adopt good engineering practices for selecting proper materials for tanks and pipes. Implement monitoring programs, for example, leak detection and repair programs, spill detection, spill control, emergency response plans, etc. And manage properly their waste materials, their transport and disposal associated with it. Then install monitoring wells and monitor periodically the groundwater quality. This is what industries can do to prevent groundwater contamination. Now, how can communities participate in prevention of groundwater contamination. They can minimize use of household chemicals containing hazardous substances, cleaning chemicals, motor oils, insecticides in community areas, then reduce the pesticide application by using proper procedures for handling chemicals, for example, paints, pesticides, insecticides, polishing materials, cleaning chemicals and detergents, and by immediately cleaning any spills and report any leakages to the concerned department. Groundwater remediation is the process that is used to remove pollution from groundwater. Pollutants and contaminants can be removed from groundwater by applying various techniques, thereby making the groundwater safe for use. So, groundwater पोल्यूशन को रिमूव करना, तो उसके लिए टेक्निक दो तरह की मेजर टेक्निक्स हैं. फर्स्ट इज सिटू टेक्नोलॉजी एंड अदर इज इन सिटू टेक्नोलॉजी. So first we'll talk about ex situ technology. So this technology involves treatment of groundwater by dewatering the polluted aquifer, यानी कि pumping out करके, then treating the water on the surface by physical, chemical or biological technology, and finally re-injecting the treated water to the aquifer. तो इसमें पहले जो भी एक्विफर के अंदर पानी होता है उसको पंप आउट करके बाहर लाया जाता है, और फिर उसके बाद उसको फिजिकल, केमिकल और बायोलॉजिकल ट्रीटमेंट्स देके वापस री-इंजेक्ट किया जाता है. एंड इन सीटू टेक्नोलॉजी मींस treatment of groundwater within the aquifer in the subsurface by using thermal, chemical and biological treatment technology. और इन सीटू टेक्नोलॉजी में पंप आउट नहीं करते, पानी जहाँ पे होता है जिस एक्विफर में होता है उसी एक्विफर में थर्मल, केमिकल और बायोलॉजिकल ट्रीटमेंट देके रेमेडियल सॉल्यूशंस दिए जाते हैं. Extraction of groundwater from aquifer, treat above ground and return the treated water to the aquifer. This extraction is done by pumping groundwater from the well or trench. A variety of techniques such as, तो जब एक बार ग्राउंड वाटर को पंप आउट कर लिया जाता है एक्विफर से, तो उसको ट्रीट करने के लिए बहुत सारी टेक्निक्स यूज की जाती हैं. वो कुछ इस तरीके से हैं. फर्स्ट इज stream stripping. It involves treatment by introducing stream which extract the contaminants from the pumped out groundwater. The extracted stream along with contaminants can be recovered from the condensate and treated further by incineration. तो stream stripping में जो भी contaminated water है उसको उसमें एक stream इंट्रोड्यूस कराई जाती है जो कि contaminants को extract कर लेती है. Oxygen sparging. It involves introduction of oxidizing or reducing agents, for example, ozone, H2O2 or hypochlorite, to chemically convert the toxic contaminants to less toxic compounds. तो ऑक्सीजन स्पैरिंग में ओजोन, H2O2 या फिर हाइपोक्लोराइट को यूज किया जाता है टॉक्सिसिटी कम करने के लिए. Then bioremediation. It involves treatment of pumped up groundwater by air, that is biodegradation, with careful control of moisture, heat, nutrients, oxygen and pH. Next is carbon absorption. It involves passing the contaminated or pumped up groundwater through activated carbon columns in which contaminants get absorbed. तो जब पंपिंग आउट कर रहे होते हैं, तो जब पंप आउट जिस चेंबर से पंप आउट कर रहे होते हैं उनमें वो कार्बन चेम्बर्स होते हैं, तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली जो कंटेमिनेंट्स होते हैं उसको एब्जॉर्ब कर लेते हैं. सो दिस इज हाउ पंप लगा के जो भी ग्राउंड वाटर होता है उसको एक्सट्रैक्ट आउट कर लिया जाता है. ये फ्लूम्स हैं जहाँ पे ऑलरेडी क्लीनिंग शुरू हो जाती है पानी की, और ये यहाँ से पंप करके इस ट्रीटमेंट बिल्डिंग में लाया जाता है और दोबारा उसके बाद डिस्चार्ज करके ग्राउंड में भेज दिया जाता है. So these are in situ remediation technology. It involves treatment of groundwater in place without extracting the water for aquifer, as you know. And these treatments involve several techniques which are used in groundwater, in situ groundwater treatment. So in situ treatment में कुछ इन टेक्नोलॉजीज का यूज करते हैं. First is air sparging. It involves injection of contaminant-free air into the subsurface saturated zone, enabling a phase transfer of hydrocarbons from a dissolved state to a vapor phase. Next is bioremediation. It involves injection of oxygen to enhance the biodegradation, and this treatment also combines injection of degradation bacteria and nutrients into aquifers to stimulate biodegradation. तो इसमें ऑक्सीजन इंजेक्ट किया जाता है डिग्रेडेशन करने के लिए. इसके अलावा कुछ डिग्रेडिंग बैक्टीरियाज और न्यूट्रिएंट्स भी डाले जाते हैं. Then in air well stripping. It involves injection of air in double screened well, lifting the water up the well and force it out in upper screens. VOCs in the contaminated water are transferred from dissolved phase to vapor phase in air bubbles and drawn off and treated. Then chemical oxidation. It involves reduction oxidation reactions that chemically converts hazardous contaminants into less toxic compounds. Cyanide oxidation and dechlorination are the typical examples of chemical oxidation. Then there is thermal treatment. It involves increasing temperature of the source zone to increase the mobility of the pollutants. The mobility facilitates removal of pollutants and can also result in situ destruction of contaminants. Then next is pythoremediation. It involves the use of macroscopic plants to destroy, remove, immobilize, and treat contaminants. This process does not use microorganisms. So this is in situ bioremediation. This is permeable treatment zone जहाँ से पानी, ये जो ग्राउंड वाटर फ्लो इस डायरेक्शन में है, यहाँ पे यूनिट्स इंस्टॉल करके इंजेक्ट किया जा रहा है ये सब, और यहाँ पे जो भी हमें बैक्टीरिया या फिर ऑक्सीजन देना ऑक्सीडाइजेशन के लिए वो यहाँ पे इंसर्ट किया जाता है. ये जैसे यहाँ पे इंजेक्शन सॉल्यूशन दिया हुआ इसकी हेल्प से. नाउ सिलेक्शन ऑफ रेमेडियल. जो हमने टेक्नोलॉजी जो डिस्कस की है उनमें से क्या सेलेक्ट किया जाए. सो सिलेक्शन डिपेंड्स ऑन सेवरल पैरामीटर्स सच एज, अब कंटेमिनेंट प्रोफाइल कैसे उस पर डिपेंड करता है. टाइप्स ऑफ कंपाउंड इन द ग्राउंड वाटर, इफ इट इज DNAPL, LNAPL, अमोनिया, वायरस और बैक्टीरिया. क्वांटिटी, if it is soluble in water or not. Toxicity and volatility, VOCs, SVOCs, metals, etc. Then biodegradability. इनमें से जो भी प्रॉपर्टी कंटेमिनेंट शो करेगा उसके हिसाब से मटेरियल मिक्स किया जाएगा. देन एक्विफर प्रोफाइल. अब एक्विफर किस तरह का, द सॉइल टाइप ऑफ द एक्विफर, परमेबिलिटी, होमोजेनिटी, केमिस्ट्री, कन्फाइंड, ओपन, ये किस तरीके का है. ग्राउंड वाटर फ्लो डायरेक्शन, किस डायरेक्शन में ग्राउंड वाटर फ्लो कर रहा है. देन water table location and recharge location for with the help of seasonal rainfall. And feasibility profile says cost of technology and time of completion. तो ये भी इस इन फैक्टर्स पे भी डिपेंड करता है. Several man-made chemicals are referred to as groundwater contaminants because of their extensive use, accidental spills, mismanagement, and illegal dumping. Some of the popular contaminants are the following: DNAPL, that is dense non-aqueous phase liquids. NaPL, that is light organic chemicals, for example ammonia, cyanide or fluoride. Metals, then bacteria and viruses. So DNAPL, dense non-aqueous phase liquids, are organic compounds heavier than water and having less. These compounds include chlorinated solvents, EDC and PCB, DNAPLs migrate very fast through the soil formation and reach water table because of their high density and low viscosity. They sink steeply to the bottom of the aquifer till they reach the impermeable bed rock. Now, treatment of DNAPL. Following types of technologies are increasingly being used to treat DNAPLs. First is in situ thermal treatment, then in situ chemical oxidation, then surfactant or co-solvent flushing, in situ bioremediation, then groundwater extraction, excavation, then third, last is containment by using engineered caps and slurry walls. So this is how dense non-aqueous phase liquid migration pattern works. ये solvent soluble fumes को introduce किया जाता है. ये fluorinated solvent टैंक्स हैं जिससे जो भी वाटर है उसमें इसको इंक्लूड करके मिक्स करके प्यूरिफाई किया जाता है. ये जैसा कि आप देख पा रहे हैं इसमें डिसॉल्व क्लोरिनेटेड सॉल्वेंट्स होते हैं. These are organic compounds lighter than water and having low solubility. These liquids include gasoline, fuel oil, and other petroleum products. LNAPL remediation. Remediation may require the use of more than one technology. It is likely that several remediation techniques used in series and or parallel applications will be required for maximum contaminant removal. This collaborated effort may be referred as treatment train approach. A conceptual example of treatment train which might be effective at an LNAPL site includes pump and treat for mobile NaPl removal, followed by vapor extraction for removal of residual LNaPl. Additional technologies such as bioremediations might be used for further reduce in contaminant concentration. LNAPL migration pattern works. सेम उसी तरीके से यहाँ पे इस बार पेट्रोलियम हाइड्रोकार्बन स्टोरेज टैंक दिया जाता है जिसमें LNAPL बल्क फ्लूइड और डिसॉल्व मैक्रो लेवल पे देखें, माइक्रो लेवल पे देखें, ये इस तरीके से जो वाटर है और ये LNAPL है ये इसको इसके अंदर करके ट्रीट कर देता है. These are the main sources and treatment technologies of contaminants. First is PCE, that is trichloroethylene. Main sources degreasing of metal and electronic parts. Extract for oil and waxes. Fumigant carries in paints and adhesive. It can be used by pump and treatment, activated carbon, thermal and biological treatments. Then MTBE, it can be released to ground by water leaking underground storage tanks and piping, atmospheric depositions, spills during transportations and leaks and refineries. Treatment technologies are air sparging, in situ oxidation, H2O2 and Fe, bioremediation and bioaugmentation. Also pump and treat. Then EDC, that is DNAPL. For EDC and VCM plants, storage tanks, pipelines, etc. And it can be treated by in situ bioremediation. Then gasoline for LNAPL, gasoline and other petroleum fuel tanks, petrol stations, storage tanks and pipelines. These are the main sources. And in situ bioremediation and vapor extraction can be the treatment technology for this. Then ammonia, the sources are ammonia storage tanks, landfill leaks and waste stockpile, and it can be treated by pump and treat.
combination of air stripping, nitrification, and ion exchange. Now, that is ethylene dichloride and chloroform. Groundwater contaminated by ethylene dichloride and chloroform can be treated through in situ bioremediation by using certain types of enzymes under proper. This in situ process is applicable to both fresh and brackish waters. 50 to 80% biodegradation can be achieved by injecting enzymes in the aquifers within 5 to 10 weeks. तो 50 से 80% बायोडिग्रेडेशन अचीव किया जा सकता है एंजाइम्स को इंजेक्ट करके सिर्फ 5 से 10 हफ्ते के अंदर अंदर. So applicability is like this. This is the density EDC 1.3 gram per cc. So this much is added for treatment. Limitations, it is permeability of the ground and aquifer matrix. इन ये जो हम ट्रीटमेंट इन्वॉल्व करने वाले हैं ये ग्राउंड की परमेबिलिटी और एक्विफर के मैट्रिक्स पे भी डिपेंड करता है कि कितना फंक्शनल होने वाला है. दिस इज इन सिटू बायोरेमेडिएशन is practically implemented by 2 industrial facilities in Jubail to reduce EDC and other fluorinated compounds from the groundwater. Similarly, treatment of MTBE, that is methyl tertiary butyl ether. So MTBE is broadly used as gasoline additive and is one of the popular contaminants of the groundwater. The solubility in water is as high as 4.3%, comparing to solubility of benzene and toluene as 0.18% and 0.05% respectively. MTBE is very mobile and can spread very large surface area very quickly. जैसे कि अभी देखो अगर ये पॉइंट सोर्स है और हम इसको ऐसे स्पिल करते हैं तो टॉलुइन इतना स्प्रेड होगा, बेंजीन इतना स्प्रेड होगा, पर MTBE इतना ज्यादा स्प्रेड होगा. Groundwater contaminated by MTBE can be treated by in situ oxidation, bioremediation, pump and treat by air stripping and activated carbon absorption, and also combination of catalytic chemical oxidation with UV presence. Then treatment of ammonia. Ammonia is one of the major pollutants which contaminates groundwater. Ammonia contamination could lead to sea water pollution. Being toxic to aquatic organisms of ammonia is very important. The Department of Energy has successfully conducted pilots on remedial techniques on aquifer near Moab, Utah, US, which shows that technologies are available for treating groundwater contaminated with high levels of ammonia to a safe level of 3 milligram per liter. तो अमोनिया का 3 mg per liter safe limits है, तो ये इतना इसको dilute करके लाया जा सकता है. So these technologies include pump and treat by ammonia stripping, pump and treat by air stripping and further nitrification, pump and treat by ion exchange. And the limitations of this process is that it needs pH adjustment, क्योंकि इस टेक्नोलॉजी के दौरान pH वैल्यूज जो हैं वो चेंज हो जाती हैं और ग्राउंड वाटर फिट नहीं रहता, इसलिए हमें pH एडजस्ट करना जरूरी होता है, उसको नॉर्मलाइज करना जरूरी होता है. So Royal Commission Environmental Regulations on Groundwater Prevention. So रॉयल कमीशन की कुछ गाइडलाइंस है, रेगुलेशंस है, वो कुछ इस तरीके से that at least 3 groundwater monitoring wells should be present in each industrial facility. तो हर इंडस्ट्रियल फैसिलिटी में कम से कम 3 groundwater monitoring wells होने चाहिए. Periodically monitoring groundwater quality, periodical reports to RC, that is Royal Commission. Mandatory use of impervious liner, 1.5 mm thick HDPE liners for tank foundations, secondary contaminants, dikes and stormwater ponds. Storage tank regulations, spill control devices, leak detection, overfill system, contaminants and double walls, materials of constructions. So it also includes implementation of leak detection and system to ensure the integrity of the pipelines and components. Then separate location for landfills. जो लैंडफिल्स हैं उसके लिए अलग जगह होनी जरूरी है, ये सबसे बड़ा रीजन भी है ग्राउंड वाटर पोल्यूशन का। इनर्ट वेस्ट, नॉन हजार्डस वेस्ट, हजार्डस इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट एंड सैनिटरी वेस्ट, ये सब सबके लिए अलग अलग लोकेशन होनी चाहिए। देन लैंडफिल डिजाइन, double liners, groundwater monitoring wells near landfill, and leakage collection system. Monitoring groundwater from system monitoring wells outside industrial facilities in Jubilee Industrial City. So these are some examples of how they have been working. Coming to the conclusion, prevention from groundwater contaminant is the best remedial option. ट्रीट करने से अच्छा ऑप्शन है कि उसको कंटेमिनेट ही ना किया जाए, प्रिवेंट किया जाए. Mostly groundwater contaminants are of industrial origin. Royal Commission is closely monitoring the quality of groundwater throughout Jubail Industrial City and also have implemented strict regulations for the prevention of groundwater pollution. Groundwater awareness programs, including groundwater prevention, should be implemented for community. Innovative technologies are available for the groundwater remediation for several common contaminants, including DDC and other chlorinated compounds, for example, MTBE and OM. So prevention based. So this was about groundwater, and now we'll move to precautions and treatments of faults and joints. As you can see on the screen, in geotechnical engineering, a fault often forms a discontinuity that may have a large influence on the mechanical behavior, that is strength, deformation, etc., of soil and rock masses in, for example, tunnel foundation or slope construction. तो एक फॉल्ट की वजह से डिसकंटिन्यूटी क्रिएट हो सकती है जो कि मैकेनिकल बिहेवियर को इन्फ्लुएंस करेगी. जैसे कि हमने डिस्कस किया, वो टनल फाउंडेशन इन सब केस में अफेक्ट कर सकती है. The level of a fault's activity can be critical for first locating building, tanks and pipelines, and second assessing the seismic shaking and tsunami hazards to infrastructure and people in the vicinity. तो दो चीजों को पे फर्क डालती है फॉल्ट की एक्टिविटी, बिल्डिंग की लोकेशन पे और उसके अलावा सिस्मिक एक्टिविटीज को एसेस करने में. For example, in California, new building construction has been prohibited directly on or near faults that have moved with the Holocene epoch, that is the last 11,700 years of the Earth's geological history. Also, faults that have shown movement during the Holocene plus Pleistocene epoch, the last 2.6 million years, may receive consideration, especially for critical structures such as power plants, dams, hospitals, and schools. So geologists assess a fault's age by studying soil features seen in shallow excavations and geomorphology seen in aerial photographs. Subsurface clues include shears and their relationships to carbonate nodules, eroded clay, and iron oxide mineralization in the case of older soils and lack of such signs in the case of younger soils. Radiocarbon dating of organic materials buried next to or over a fault shear is often critical in distinguishing active from inactive faults. From such relationships, paleoseismologists can estimate the size of past earthquakes over the past several hundred years and develop rough projections of future fault activity. और इसी तरीके से जॉइंट्स भी इम्पोर्टेंट है और वो वहाँ की जो रीजनल जियोलॉजी और जियोमॉर्फोलॉजी है उसकी हेल्प से स्टडी किया जा सकता है. But are also important in development of natural resources, the safe design of structures, and environmental protection. So joints have a profound control on weathering and erosion of bedrocks. As a result, they exert a strong control on how topography and morphology of landscapes develop. Understanding the local and regional distribution, physical character, and origin of joints is a significant part of understanding the geology and geomorphology of an area. Joints often impart a well-developed fracture-induced permeability to bedrock. As a result, joints strongly influence, even control, the natural circulation, that is hydrogeology of fluids. तो joint की वजह से hydrogeology भी affect होती है. Example, groundwater and pollutants within aquifers, petroleum in reservoirs, and hydrothermal circulation at depth, that is within bedrocks. Thus, joints are important to the economic and safe development of petroleum, hydrothermal, and groundwater resources, and the subject of intensive research related to the development of these sources. So next is environmental geology. Environmental geology, like hydrogeology, is an applied science concerned with the practical applications of the principles of geology in solving the environmental problems. The geology की problems, environmental problems को solve करने में help करने लगते हैं तो environmental geology कहलाती है. It is a multidisciplinary field that is closely related to engineering geology and to a lesser extent to the environmental geography. तो इसमें ज्यादातर पार्ट इंजीनियरिंग जियोलॉजी का है और एनवायरमेंटल जियोलॉजी का कम पार्ट है. Each of these fields involve the study of the interaction of humans with the geologic environment, including the biosphere, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, and to some extent the atmosphere. In other words, environmental geology is the application of geological information to solve conflicts, minimizing possible adverse environmental degradation, or maximizing possible advantageous conditions resulting from the use of natural and modified environment. So, environmental geology includes the following, that is managing geological and hydrogeological resources, for example, fossil fuels, minerals, waters, surface and groundwater, and land use. Then studying the Earth's surface through the disciplines of geomorphology and edapology. So it also includes defining and mitigating exposure of natural hazards on humans, managing industrial and domestic waste disposal, and minimizing or eliminating the effects of pollution, and also performing associated activities often involving litigation. So with this, we'll conclude the geology session. I hope you guys will study, and if in case there is any doubt, feel free to contact. Till then, have a great time. Thank you.
I hope you guys could understand and correlate the topics taught in today's session. If there is any query or subject matter issue, feel free to mail me at the given email ID. Live discussion sessions could also be used for discussion of doubts. Thank you.